the Miami Herald and the Washington Post, they're pushing for intervention, right? Oh, the president of Haiti got assassinated, probably by U.S. forces, so now the U.S. forces need to go back in. What an incredible self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, the nation that allowed how many Derek Chauvins killed how many George Floyds before finally somebody said something. No, this is a nation that's always on the side of the fucking fascist authoritarian sons of bitches. Miami Herald, Washington Post, here's the headlines. If the U.S. continues to back Haiti's compromised politicians, nothing will improve after Moise. There are good reasons to worry about sending UN troops to Haiti, but does anyone have a better idea? Yeah, let Haiti decide for itself what it wants. Let Haiti, for once, leave Haiti the fuck alone. Leave Cuba the fuck alone. Let Cuba and Haiti either succeed or fail on their own auspices. Don't sit there and stand on its fucking back and trip them up and shit when they don't. You sit there and you gouge out their eyes and then you reproach them for their blindness. And don't trust AOC. AOC is for the Cuba, coup d'etat. She's for the goddamn Venezuelan coup d'etat. I didn't hear her speak out against the Bolivian coup d'etat. And the reason why I'm mad is how many times do we need to be confirmed of the exact same, we know what they're, okay, so the United States government, the Pentagon, has confirmed that some of the Colombian mercenaries that were arrested were trained by the U.S. government. So the Colombians that killed Jovenel Moise, trained by the U.S. government. The Pentagon confirmed it. In fact, America has been training Colombian mercenaries since the 1950s. Now, some of the Colombian mercenaries had said that they were only there to arrest Jovenel. They weren't there to assassinate him. They were going to arrest Jovenel and then give him over to the DEA. Well, that's what the United States MO, that's their MO. That's the same shit that happened with the last three coup d'etats in Haiti. 1986, 2004, 1991. Baby Doc and Aristide were captured alive and sent out of the country. Baby Doc was sent to France and Aristide was sent to the Central African Republic. So this is, again, the United States. You don't want that bloody murder, right? No, you just arrest them and then send them out and then you institute. And then afterwards, these Colombian mercenaries, they contacted the DEA afterwards. They confirmed the hit. The DEA does operations in Haiti. They contacted the DEA. They confirmed the hit. This is on top of the historical notion that wasn't just, 2004, 1991, and 1986. It was 1989, 1988, 1988, twice in 1988, and then 1950, 1958. There's also a current occupation, MINUSTA, United Nations MINUSTA occupation is going on right now. So send in the troops. We already got the troops there. The troops are already there. But I guess they were pushing them out, so they've been winding it down, but now they got to amp it back up. You have all these American Haitians that are getting arrested. James Salad, she's 35 years old. Apparently he was a bodyguard at the Canadian Embassy. Christian Sanin, he's, DEA says today that he was ex-DEA. That's convenient. Christian Sanin ran CTU from South Florida, which is known as a Venezuelan security firm. So he's running a corporation to protect Venezuela? Yeah, because the United States government is so great at protecting Venezuela and the Venezuela. We got sanctions on Venezuela. We tried to overthrow Venezuela. The U.S. government tried to overthrow Venezuela. So Christian Sanin running CTU. So what? This is the same fucking group of mercenaries that tried to overthrow? I mean, didn't they showed all the passports and shit. You had Maduro that, stopped a coup d'etat attempt. Claude Joseph is calling for U.S. intervention. How perfect is that? So the Haitian ambassador to the United States is also pushing for it. The FBI thinks that Claude Joseph was the mastermind behind the hit, says the Colombian press. So, how perfect is that? The United States is on the side of Claude Joseph, which is the 6th Prime Minister, not the 7th Prime Minister. Jovenel Moise made Ariel Henry the Prime Minister, and he was assassinated because of that. And so the United States is on the side of Claude Joseph. Claude Joseph is immediately calling for the United States to intervene. Oh, well, shit. How fucking perfect was that? Killed the president. Now you're saying, hey, send more troops to the motherfuckers that just did the damn thing? What the fuck is wrong with you assholes? 2 major occupations in Haiti. This isn't the first time we've occupied Haiti. We've been fucking with Haiti for centuries. 20-year occupation back in 1915 and 1935. One of the first things the United States government, the United States military did when it occupied Haiti in 1915? Steal all the gold. Why did we need to steal all the gold out of the Haiti's banks? Stole all the fucking gold? Jesus Christ. United States is just so brazen sometimes. And then you got the current occupation. 3 Haitian Americans, Joseph Vincent, James Salages, and then Christian Emmanuel Sinan. They're calling him the Mastermind. So James Salages, Joseph Vincent, 55, Christian Emmanuel Sinan. These are Haitian Americans. They are out of Florida. You got a Florida connection, a DEA connection. You got, my God, 11 of the arrested Colombians turned themselves into Taiwanese embassy. How did they know to do that? Jovenel still had 8 months on his 5-year presidential term. He wasn't a dictator. He's ruled by decree, but he was the elected president. Numéro 134-1. Yo nomen president non-election chaque 5 ans. 5 years. He had a 5-year term, and it commences February 7. 7. That's from the 1987 Constitution. So he still had 8 months on his terms. The assassins claimed they were DEA. They called the DEA to confirm the hit. They said that they were going to arrest him and then turn him into the DEA. Dixiecrat Joe Biden, motherfucker, he's a segregationist, right? He said nothing's going to fundamentally change. The empire made sure that Biden got in there and not, you know, the anti-imperialist fucking Bernie Sanders. And what has Joe Biden said? He's only said a couple comments on the presidential assassination. The CIA has an assassination program. The United States has been using psychological warfare campaign. They did it in 1954 Guatemala with Arbins. So just like Jovenel, right? He's a dictator. He's a dictator. Use all the psychological warfare in the world. And then once everybody hates the guy, then you get rid of him. Well, he was a dictator. Didn't you all complain about him being a dictator? So this is a positive development, right? Wrong. 1964, there's a specific plan where they trained Colombian military troops to invade Colombia. They bombed Colombia with napalm. And then that's eventually going to start the FARC, the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, which is one of the oldest and largest revolutionary guerrilla movement in the Western Hemisphere. So, we've been training Colombian mercenaries. The U.S. government has been training Colombian mercenaries for the last 50, 60, 70 years, doing psychological warfare. It's the empire, 750 military bases in 150 countries. We got 10 colonies, usually these island nations, right? It's a Western Hemisphere. Monroe Doctrine. You got these 2 big-ass oceans. Who's going to come? Was China or Russia going to send troops over here to save the tiny island nation of Haiti? So, I'm pretty pissed about this because I'm convinced the U.S. government, this is exactly what they did to Aristide. They want to arrest him, right? They said it was a DEA operation. I'm thinking, God, could this be like a very sophisticated operation made to look like the United States did it? But I'm like, God, that's the conspiracy theory, right? That's the conspiracy theory. Maybe it was China that made it look like the United States. You know, the Pentagon, the DEA, and you know who hasn't said shit about shit? The CIA. The CIA hasn't said shit about shit. So I'm convinced that the United States government, the empire did some empire shit. The empire did some empire fucking criminal fucking bullshit. They think they fucking own the world. It's for hegemony. Apparently one of their rich friends couldn't get some property in fucking Haiti or some shit, so they got rid of the fucking president. This bullshit. It's not in my interest. I didn't want anything to happen to Jovenel Moise. I don't want the United States government to intervene in any of the countries in the Americas. I don't want the U.S. government to intervene in any of these countries unless it's just so fucking, you know, gone. But even then, it's got to, you know, go through United Nations, and that's just because I want to believe that if it's totally fucked up, then maybe we can, you know, do some good. But if it's not totally fucked up, if it's not FUBAR, if it's not fucked up beyond all recognition, we need to stay the fuck out. Let the Haitians, what the Haitians needed is for us to leave them alone. We just assassinated their fucking president. Hell, they could be in turmoil for the next 3 decades. They might be involved in a civil war. We did that shit to Guatemala, I think, with Arbins. Decades of civil war after that shit had happened. And what was Arbins' crime? Well, he was a socialist that was doing, you know, we had to protect Chiquita Banana. We needed to protect our corporations. Our poor corporations wasn't making all the fucking money that they could possibly make out of Guatemala. So the U.S. government, so just rich and the powerful, they collude. That's fascism. That's fucking fascism when the corporations and the government collude together. And that's what we got. We got a goddamn rogue U.S. government that's just doing whatever the fuck it wants to do. The United States government, the president can't stop it. The people can't stop it. The military-industrial complex just gets bigger and bigger and fatter. It's almost like that Bluebeard in Fate Zero. Motherfucker just kept getting bigger and bigger with all the fucking shit that they did. So what we need to talk about now is how can we stop this shit? We need to know what the fuck our government is up to. We need to know why we have all these military bases all over the fucking place. This is bullshit. We spend billions and trillions of dollars for this shit. Meanwhile, people are starving here. Meanwhile, there's shit that's going on in these United States. You got, Johnny Hurley, he was a, good Samaritan, shot a shooter, and then the cops came and shot and killed him. Bernie Sanders, my God, America. You don't like your heroes, right? Your JFKs, your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther King Jr.'s, anybody that says, hey, let's change something, you fucking put a bullet right in their head. Bernie Sanders, my God, there's motherfuckers that talk shit about Bernie Sanders. You know how hard it is to be a Bernie Sanders, to be a fucking principled socialist for the last 50 years, to be the only principled socialist in America for the last 50 years? And in spite of having your entire life, you're fighting the good life, you still got pieces of shit motherfuckers that, he ain't good enough for me! What the fuck is good enough for you motherfuckers, huh? There is nothing good enough for you motherfuckers, you jealous, fucking ingrate, insecure motherfuckers. You can't stand Bernie Sanders because he did well for himself, you pieces of shit. You're jealous. Instead of saying, hey, yeah, the society that he would bring about is the society that would benefit all of us, instead you say, well, his senator makes me feel small. Fuck you. Johnny Hurley was a goddamn hero. This is what America does to the people that stand up and say, let's do right. So, should I be saying any of this? Right? You fascist, capitalist, imperialist fucks. I don't hear y'all talking about it. There's, Rick Sanchez, Nico House. There's a couple people that's talking about it. But you're not hearing mainstream, and then what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm assuming the worst. I'm assuming the U.S. government's behind it. That's what America's been doing the whole time. America just did what America does, right? The empire just did what the empire does all the fucking time. Coup d'etat, invasion, overthrow, whatever the hell it wants to do. So how do we stop the empire? We need to ask this question. How do we stop the empire? Do we cut the military budget? We have to re-elect everybody. We have to get rid of it. We need a constitutional convention. There's 3 kinds of revolution. There's 4 kinds of revolution. You got the violent revolutions. You got constitutional revolutions. You got electoral revolutions. And then you have Howard Zinn's soft revolution. Howard Zinn's soft revolution is you, like the Black Panthers, just organize your own shit. And then after that works, for several decades, then you won't need the system because you've already got a system that works. So that's a good idea. I like that. But let's talk about reforming the current system. The 3 ways we could change the current system: violent revolution, constitutional revolution, electoral revolution. We haven't tried constitutional revolution. We haven't tried electoral revolution. And until we've exhausted all of our options, I'm not going to push for, violence. We need to be more educated. We're Americans. We have all this fucking capability, all this all this technology, internet. We went to public schools or whatever, so we're, should be more intelligent than the average bear out here. So the Haitian people, barbecue's calling for revolution. I think we need to call for revolution. Electoral revolution, constitutional revolution. And we need to be serious about this shit. I think too many motherfuckers just want to go around being a bunch of fucking assholes, right? Go around just harassing people's pets and shit, doing drive-bys and serial killing and this and that. That's what Americans, here in the San Luis Valley, that's what they like to do. Democracy, get together, make sure we got each other's backs, stopping criminality. No, it's kissing fascist ass, not thinking at all. and trying to mimic the fascist motherfucking rat bastard fucks that are in power. Yeah, no, these motherfuckers around here, they don't vote, let alone empathize with a nation the U.S. government just toppled. But the same oppression that the U.S. government's doing to the entire world is the same bullshit they're doing right here. And it's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. The U.S. government, America, could be so much fucking better than what it is. But because we got Alabama and shit that we got to fucking prop up and shit, I think we should actually secede from the Union. Just have the liberal nations versus red versus blue. That's fine with me. These red state motherfuckers, like at least the blue states seem to be on the right path. These red state motherfuckers, god damn. They like a black hole. They like living in an abyss. In a cesspool, an abyss. They just like it. They just love it. But they're sadist, and oppressors have a love of death, and as long as they're oppressing somebody, they're dead on the inside, so they got to injure somebody to feel alive. And these white supremacists, they just did this shit. So almost in the U.S. government, they did this shit to fucking Jovenel Moise. And then the people that they got botched it up. They didn't run away and this and that. They shot him instead of arresting him. But you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm sick of this shit. You got all this goddamn criminality everywhere. When you got an American government that's going around not respecting the sovereignty of other nations. I want Haiti to be the 51st American state. I want Haiti to have all the same blessings that the U.S. states have. But if you got a government, since it's its own nation or whatever, so essentially we're just going to keep invading it. It's like, it's an empire. That's empire shit. That's empire shit. I'm fucking sick of it. And I wish there was more people around me that, was sick of it too and really, truly want to change it. I don't believe your all's intentions. I don't think you want to change it. I think you're comfortable enough. Keep paying that motherfucking landlord. Keep on marching, to whatever drum you've been marching to in spite of everything falling apart. Or you're fine yourself, or you think you're fine yourself. Oh, there's criminality over there? Well, that'll never come back to me until it does. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we need to dismantle this empire. The empire's got to fucking stop. Let's take care of America, goddammit. The United Nations, I don't even know if the United Nations is a good legacy after World War II. And these right-wing motherfuckers acting like it's going to be one world government, that's bullshit. I would trust the United Nations. I would more trust the world body. Because if China or Russia didn't want it to happen, they could veto it. If France or Britain didn't want it, they could veto it. So that might not be as democratic as I like, but when 5 nations, agree to an intervention versus 1 nation, that does give it more credibility. How do you stop the empire? You elect your electoral revolution, you elect your own people. Constitutional revolution, you have constitutional conventions. And I like this. I think America is either, I don't even think America, it's not that America's not educated. I think kissing fast is fast. If they're educated enough, I don't know. When I think about constitutional conventions, I think that Americans will be against it just as much as they're against democracy. What? You want me to vote? I'm not going to vote! Okay. You just going to let the fascists do whatever the fuck they want to do? If you're not voting, are you even paying attention to politicians? Oh, you ain't going to do none of that, huh? So I'm going to do like a shit ton of fucking work to be a good citizen. So, constitutional revolution, I'll just end it off with this. South Carolina, they had a constitutional revolution right after the Civil War. There was a lot of black folks who used to be slaves. Black folks who used to be slaves got elected to the Constitutional Convention of South Carolina. It was majority black. And they said that even though they were rough around the edges, what they lacked in specific procedural, parliamentary procedure knowledge, they made up for it with their passion for establishing a government of, by, and for the people. They were the genuine ones. The black folks in South Carolina were the genuine ones, the ones that want to pass a good constitution, a constitution that would stand up, for generations. So the founding fathers of the U.S. were amateurs. The constitutional authors in South Carolina right after the Civil War were amateurs. I think we could do it if we actually gave a shit. But if there's one thing that my 40 years on this not planet, I guess, in this America, what 40 years in this America has taught me is nobody gives a goddamn fuck, and they never will. If you're going to do something, you got to do it yourself. And the Howard Zinn revolution might take, a while. I think it'd be worth it. I'm already there. But it'd be nice to actually, give it your all. Maybe you can't beat the Harlem Globetrotters. But have you tried? Did you try to organize a basketball team? Did you even play a game? Or did you quit before you even begun? The Harlem Globetrotters, they're just people too, right? And hell, it's free market. Can you just get some of the Harlem Globetrotters on your side? So I think we could do, a great constitutional revolution if people were serious about electoral politics. Too many motherfuckers want to just throw out electoral politics without even trying it. Oh, electoralism, because they want all the shit to fucking fall, but they're on YouTube, so they want to keep talking and get all the attention, and they like being these radicals that say these crazy things. Good, get your attention, get your fucking clicks. But until you tried democracy, I don't want to hear you motherfuckers say that it failed. It's the end of history. What if it's not democracy? It has to be democracy. So it has to be democracy. And yeah. So what kind of citizen are you in this democracy? Are you a good citizen? You make it sure that all the people are taken care of, and that the politicians and the leadership, you're putting the pressure on that. You're running for office. These are what you're doing, right? These are all the things you're doing, right, America? Yeah, right. Bullshit. So yeah. It's time for revolution. It's time for revolution. Revolution on commence.